Guys, today I'm going to show you a little class so you can familiarize yourself with the English pattern. I already told all of you, and who are new, I always tell this to my students. There is a pattern in English, and this pattern you're going to see it everywhere and all the times. But before we talk about future, past, present, recent, we need to talk about what a subject is. Now you see here, I have here a subject, but he could be anybody. He could be you, he could be I, he could be he, she, it, and also he could be there for existence. There is a chair, there was a chair, there. But it could also be this, that, these, those, etc. And it could also be names like Juan, John, etc. That's this guy. John, there, I, this. Anywhere you talk and you put a subject, it can be a thing. That's the subject. It doesn't always have to be I, you, he, she, we, they. It could be anything. So that's the first thing. The second thing you have to know is the time. The time in English is pretty much all the auxiliaries you know. All the to be verbs and the did, the do, the does, the will, all of those indicate time. Always time. Whether you're talking about the past, I did. Whether you're talking about the future, I will, or I'm going to. Whether you're talking about the present, I am, is, are, am. Or the general, I do, she does. That's right here. That's this time. Or even the recent. Have, has, have been. So keep that in mind. This is the time. Now the first pattern I'm going to show to you is the affirmative. Every single time you have a subject followed by time, remember, like I told you, I will, there is, he did, it's always going to be affirmative. It's always going to be an affirmation. For example, there was, we are, he will. Before putting any verbs, any adjectives, any location, that right there is telling you already that it's an affirmation. It's an affirmative. Nothing else. It's not a negative. It's not a question. You cannot say, he will? No. Some people say that, but that's not the correct way of saying it. When you write an email, don't ever ask a question using this pattern. Subject, then time. Or else it will be wrong. So remember, subject goes first, time goes next. And there you have it, an affirmation. Next, another pattern you're going to see in all of English, no matter what, is the negative. And again, we have here the subject, the time, will, was, did, have been, and then the negative, not. Every time you see not in front of the time, the entire sentence is going to be a negative sentence. For example, there was not. They are not. I will not. And you forget about everything else. Forget about the verbs you put afterwards, the adjectives, the location. Forget about all of those. The because. The sentence is negative if you add the not. This guy. Not over here, not over here, not in front of the verb, right in front of time. And the last pattern you're going to see today is how to make a question. So if you see here, we have this guy. And then we have it here again repeated, just adding the not to make it a negative. In this case, we switch it around. It's that little switch so you can make a question in any of the times. Again, in the past, Was I? In the present. Am I? And even in the future. Will I? Always remember that. That's the key to make any question. Before you put all the other questions like what, where, when, who, you always have to make this pattern. Time, subject, and it becomes a question. For example, was there? Instead of saying there was, that's an affirmation. There was a lot of alcohol. But if you ask it, was there? That by itself is a question. Are they? Will I? This pattern you will see repeatedly in the English grammar. Just remember, follow the pattern and follow the time before you do anything else. I'm Professor Frantic. Hope you guys understood this and hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.